The satirical look of a TV news department's quest for ratings was brought to us in 1976 in the popular movie Network. When you watch this show back in the 70s, everything seemed so stretched and hard to believe. But nowadays, when you watch regular news programming, it's not far off at all. Did director Sidney Lumet have a crystal ball? By going back and watching the film, you would think that he probably had some way of predicting what was going to happen to newscasts in the future. This is a terribly dark black comedy written by Patty Chayefsky. The film stars Faye Dunaway, William Holden, Peter Finch, and Robert Duvall. And then rounding out the supporting cast is Ned Beatty and Beatrice Straight. The film received widespread critical acclaim, with the majority of the praise coming from the performances by the actors. It was also a commercial success, too. It won 4 Academy Awards, that being Best Actor by Finch, Best Actress by Dunaway, and Best Supporting Actress by Straight. Also, Best Original Screenplay was given to the film. Faye Dunaway makes the statement that this is the only film that she ever did that they didn't touch the script, because it was almost written perfectly. She was extremely happy with the direction by Sidney Lumet and felt like he was one of the most talented and professional men that she had worked with. He came prepared, and 2 weeks before shooting started, he had all his scenes blocked with his cameraman. He never wasted a minute while he was shooting, and that shows not only in the studio budget, but in the total performance of the film. The movie gets lighter as the film gets darker. In the beginning, scenes that require anything more than natural light get only the bare minimum. Dim lights in the barroom, for example. That's to emphasize the news being independent, unconcerned about beauty, and not showy. But as the characters become more corrupt, we see more and more artificial lighting induced into the set, as the movie itself becomes more vain about its appearance. They used a real TV station for the news sequences. The whole film was shot in real offices, apartments, etc. There were no sound stages used, most of these being shot in New York. But the scenes in the TV control room and Howard Beale's news show, they went to Canada to film these. Peter Finch was desperate to win the role of Howard Beale once he had read the script. He even offered to pay his own airfare to New York City for a screen test. But the real thing that concerned the director about hiring him for the job was Finch had an Australian accent. Finch won the part after sending the director a recording of himself reading the New York Times with a perfect American accent. The Mad as Hell speech was filmed in 1.5 takes. Midway through the second take, Peter Finch abruptly stopped in exhaustion. At this time, nobody realized that Finch's failing heart was causing him problems. Peter Finch ended up dying before the Academy Awards that year were to take place, where he was nominated for the Best Actor award. He won, making him the first performer to receive this award after his death. And what makes the death of Peter Finch more strange is that Sidney Lumet was with him when he died. Finch was seated in the lobby of the Beverly Hills Hotel, waiting for Lumet to go to an interview that they were doing for the film together. He ended up collapsing from this heart attack as Lumet approached him. Finch was taken to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead a few hours later. It's said that Ned Beatty once remarked that actors should never turn down work. He stated that he worked a day on this movie and got an Oscar nomination for it. He was on the screen for a total of 5 minutes and 53 seconds. Beatrice Straight's performance runs even shorter than his. It was 5 minutes and 40 seconds, and she won the Best Supporting Actress Oscar for that performance. It's kind of funny that an R-rated adult satire about a TV news show would have a promotional bumper sticker made for it. The sticker read, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore." MGM printed up and distributed about 80,000 of these stickers to celebrate Faye Dunaway's first Oscar. Husband-to-be photographer Terry O'Neill arranged to meet her at the Beverly Hills Hotel at 6:30 in the morning after the Academy Awards. This was all done for a photo shoot. What transpired from this setting was the famous image of the listless Dunaway reclining beside the tranquil hotel swimming pool with her Oscar statuette standing upright on the table beside her. Just pitched in for good measure were various newspapers that were scattered on the ground and on the table. The headlines of most of them echoed the previous night's festivities. The actress had not slept since her win, and she appears totally fatigued, prompting the title of the photograph to be called The Morning After Shot. Now, there's always been a lot of talk that Faye Dunaway and William Holden didn't see eye to eye on this film, that there were clashes between them. But according to her, she states that they had a pretty good relationship while they were on the set and shooting the film. She found him to be a very sane, lovely man. The character that Peter Finch plays was inspired by a real-life news anchor called Christine Chubbuck. She was an American news reporter who worked for a TV station in Sarasota, Florida, and she did away with herself on live television during a show that she was hosting. On the morning of July 15, 1974, she confused coworkers by claiming she had to read a newscast to open her Suncoast Digest, something that she had never done before. This is all done while the guests that they had scheduled for the show waited across the studio for her to finish. She covered a few national news stories and then a shooting from the previous day at a local restaurant. She then stated on camera, in keeping with the television station's practice of presenting the most immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts in the news, TV 40 presents what is believed to be a television first. She drew out a gun from under the counter and she shot herself behind the right ear on live TV. The station immediately went to a public service announcement and then to a movie. Some of the people that saw this happen called in to the police, while others called the station to inquire if the shooting was really a staged event. After all this happened, the news director found papers from her that was a complete script of what the program was going to involve, including the shooting. The broadcast of her death had not been seen since its airing, and there were numerous theories of what happened to the recording. It was thought that the station owner had kept the recording up until his death, and eventually his widow turned it over to a large law firm for safekeeping, and they have no plans to ever make it publicly available. Looking back on this film, it's very well done, and it really does raise some questions about how truthful the networks are with their programming, something that has really come to light nowadays. Take a look back at this crazy film. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.